Morning. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the Columbia Open Space Committee regular meeting for Thursday, March 21, 2024 at 9 a.m. Morning, Honor, and
Hi, Ann. Hi, everyone.
Liz.
Hi.
Hi. I know Honor and Paul, and I've heard of Mike. Who are you, Liz?
Oops, you're muted.
Sorry. I'm with IMBA Trail Solutions and working with Honor and TPL on the project for Mono Pond.
Good. And Mike, you also are with IMBA?
I am, yep, I'm with IMBA. I'll be supporting Liz on the project. Really excited to be here with you all this morning.
Good, good. Thank you for attending. Okay, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the minutes of February 15, 2024.
So moved.
Do I hear a second? Any discussion, corrections? Of course not. Nice job, Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? No, okay. Paul, were you here last month?
Yes.
You were,
Yeah,
yes.
it's your birthday.
Okay. Good. So moved. Okay, we have no audience here. So we will move right along and turn this over to Mike and Liz and Honor.
Thanks, Ann. I'm not going to add a lot here, but just a little introduction. As you guys know, we've been working with IMBA, and these are our people on the call now, and we are under contract with both the state and with IMBA. I believe Callie's been sort of managing that aspect of things. You all met Callie a couple times, I think. And so I think we're just here to sort of give you an overview of sort of what's to come over the next 6 months to a year, and how that depends on certain other factors and whatnot. And so I'll let Mike and Liz take it away. And if you have any questions, yeah, we're here.
Yeah, thanks, Honor. Again, good to be here with you all. It's been a while that we've been talking about our involvement with this project, with Honor and Callie and others at TPL. And we're under contract, got that taken care of over the holidays and finished up in January. And now the project is, I would say, in our queue to be working on. Overall, the trails industry is very busy. And there's a lot going on, you know, coming out of the pandemic, or well, we know during the pandemic, everybody got outside and the demand for trails went through the roof. And now a lot of places are acknowledging the benefit of trails. So we got some projects that we're wrapping up, and then we'll be getting into this project here mid to late summer. And let me back up a little bit for you all. I'm sure Honor and Callie gave you a bit of background on IMBA and who IMBA Trail Solutions is, but I'll just do a little bit of some highlights on that point. IMBA is the International Mountain Bicycling Association. We are a nonprofit that's been around now for about 35 years. It started in California with a few people looking to protect trail access and gain more trail access, and has grown into the organization that we are now with our IMBA local chapters, that's our membership. We have our government affairs folks that do a lot of work in DC, and then also with states. We have our community engagement folks that are fielding questions and getting our trail champions resources to develop trails in their communities. We have our education side of things that we do Trails Labs, which is a workshop in Bentonville, Arkansas and Cedar City, Utah, along with a series of other educational offerings. We have our marketing and communications team that's telling the great stories of the work that we're doing. And then you have Trail Solutions, who Liz and I are part of. Trail Solutions is the consulting arm of the nonprofit. So the work that we do, the revenue we generate goes to supporting the nonprofit. Trail Solutions has been around for about 20 years, came out of our trail care crew that was operated in the 90s and early 2000s, where we had 2 people in a Subaru for a couple of years driving from community to community, teaching people how to develop and maintain sustainable trails. Out of that, we gained a lot of information, a lot of knowledge. We've written books since then. We're the go-to for sustainable trail development, not just for mountain bike trails, but for shared use trails. So while we're the International Mountain Bicycling Association, out of the 40 to 50 projects that we work on a year, about 80–90% of those projects are shared use trail projects. So while we may have some mountain bike optimized experiences in trail networks, a lot of what we do is working with walkers, trail runners, bird watchers, equestrians, all different user groups. So when we come in to do work on a property, we ask, what are the allowable uses here? Who are the user groups that are involved or maybe not involved? And we're going to engage with them to best understand their trail experience objectives and how we can then meet those objectives through the planning, design, and implementation that we do. So Trail Solutions, we have 5 planners and designers that come from all different backgrounds, from landscape architecture to planning to outdoor resource management. And then we have 3 construction crews also. We have 3 crews that are building trails across the US. Right now we have 2 crews in Pioche, Nevada, just a couple hours north of Las Vegas, and another crew in Prescott, Arizona. So we keep our guys busy in the spring in warmer climate. And then as we roll into summer, those folks will be moving to other projects. One crew will be up in Maine a bit this summer. We'll have crews in Utah. Where else? Well, there's a lot of projects going on nonetheless. So on this project, we'll have Liz Grades here managing the project, and you'll be seeing her face quite a bit. Liz is up in New York, so not too far away from you all. I am based in Madison, Wisconsin. Had been in outdoor recreation planning for over 20 years. I've lived in Colorado for a bit, designing ski resorts, and now I've been with IMBA for going on 8 years. And Liz has been with us now for a couple of years. Actually, Liz and I worked for the same company, not at the same time, but then both have landed here at IMBA. So this project here at Mono Pond, like I said, we're gonna get started mid to late summer, and I figured I'd just walk you through what our approach is here and the main points of contact on our public engagement aspects. So we'll get started in July or August on just the project preparation, where we're gonna meet with staff, we're gonna meet with you all again, and discuss those trail experience objectives and get a feel for what we want to accomplish at Mono Pond. We'll do some data collection, so we're getting all the spatial data, boundary data, contour data, hydrology, all that good base data. And then we'll start to develop some ideas around what does the concept plan for trails look like. We'll be doing that via desktop analysis, and then in task 2 is where we will come and be on site for a few days. So we'll have 2 staff that will be there probably sometime in August or September. It'll be Liz and someone else. It might be me, might be Forrest from one of our production planners who's based in Louisiana, might be Matt, another one of our planners who's based in Colorado. So we have staff across the US, and we'll have 2 staff there for a few days to meet with you, to meet with staff, and then be on the site for a few days and get a feel for the topography, the interface of the properties with adjacent properties, and just start to get an idea of what our concept plan for trails looks like. High level planning to start. We ask a lot of questions through this, a lot of due diligence. Answers that we get will just spur more questions as we start to figure out how many miles of trails that we're able to develop. How are we going to utilize maybe some of the existing trails that are out there? Do those existing trails just need to be upgraded and made into more sustainable trails? What sort of process do we need to go through to design, to permitting, to implementation? What sort of funding streams are going to be coming in for developing the trails, and how does that impact the procurement process for contractors? So there's a lot of questions that we ask in the planning stage. So after our site visit, go back to the office. We're gonna create some graphics that depict the concept plan for the trails, and we're gonna present that to you all and other stakeholders and staff, and get feedback on that high-level concept plan. And then we will write up a concept plan document. And I don't know if Honor or Callie shared with you all some examples of what those concept plans look like. But it really takes into account the existing conditions that we saw out there. We have some existing conditions mapping. We talk about the goals and objectives and how we're going to meet those goals and objectives. And then we show graphics on what does this high-level trail plan look like? Where's our access points? What are our key control points, intersections, destinations, maybe a negative control point if we need to avoid a cultural site, or we need to avoid this habitat. And then what are our key corridors for trail alignments? A lot of this information in those graphics, and then into that document. We'll talk about permitting and implementation, next steps. We have some appendices on what to do for signage. What's the modern approach to construction? There's just a lot of information in our concept plans that are multifaceted in their use. They inform land managers, they inform stakeholders, and they also help with fundraising. They're great marketing tools. With the graphics that are in there, you can pull those out and engage with funders and the public at large. You know, when you ask somebody for funding, the first thing they ask you is, well, where's the plan? Well, here's that plan that you can take to then inform your funding asks for developing trails. So through that, we're going to do some public engagement too. So I'll just scroll down to the bottom of this here just to give you an idea. We got 3 touch points in public engagement. So during task 2, when we're on the ground there, we're going to do an open house that will have some stakeholder engagement boards there that people can write on boards and on maps and what they're looking for out of the property. We'll be engaging with the public. We're also going to do an online survey that we'll be able to get out and get some feedback. During the draft concept plan, we'll be doing another engagement that will be online, so people can see the progress that we're making and provide feedback. And then as we wrap up our concept plan, we'll be doing another engagement online to see what people think about the planning. We're also going to do an open house there too. So a few points of public engagement. That gets us through the concept planning here in the first phases. We'll be doing the concept planning over the fall and winter. It gives us a good time to be doing work from the desktop and doing some online meetings. And then getting approvals and thumbs up from everybody on the planning. And then once we're all good with the concept plan, we're going to come back and we're going to design some trails. We're going to flag trails on the ground for a phase 1 to get a better idea then of the details that it's going to take to build those trails. So we'll have a couple staff again on the ground for about 8 days or so. Our goal will be flagging 8 to 10 miles of trail. That may change per what the concept plan tells us. And when we're out flagging the trails, we're taking GPS data of the trail alignments, what cross slopes that we're on, the turns that we're putting in, and maybe different turn types. Do we need any rock armoring? Do we need some rock retaining walls? Like all of the buildable units that it takes to get these trails on the ground, so we can create an accurate cost estimate to build these trails. And maybe these trails are going out to bid for contractors. All of the information that we gather when we're field designing goes into a bid package that you then can get from trail builders that is apples to apples comparisons, because they got a lot of really good information on putting their bids into trail development. So once we finish up the trail design, taking the concept plan and the trail design all wraps up into a trail master plan. So you'll have a complete document that has a lot of information on then being able to go into the next steps of developing trails. So that would be about spring next year that we'd be looking at completing that. So we're about a year away from being into design and then delivering that master plan document for everyone. So that's the process. Kind of quickly going through, who we are, how we go about it, and the deliverables. I'll maybe Liz, if there's anything that you would add. If not, we can take some questions, or Honor, if you got anything to add too.
I think I'm good. I think you covered most of it, Mike, but yeah, definitely.
I was just gonna say that, you know, a lot of this, Mike touched on almost everything, and I would just add that one of the big, coordination components of this is with the state of Connecticut, of course, because they own the property. And so that will be, you know, a large part of the time. I think, Mike, that's right. Large part of your time too is coordinating with all the different divisions that are going to want to have some input and some, you know, constraints into what can and can't be done and all of that stuff. And so that will be happening sort of in the background. And I'm sure there will be, you know, engagement between, you know, the state and the town jointly at some point. I know that that's been something you guys wanted to have. So anyway, that's the only thing I would add.
Thank you, Honor. Yeah, definitely. We'll be interfacing with the state quite a bit through all this.
My question, Honor, would be, is the state, you think the state is prepared to help with the funding of the trails once the plan is done?
Yeah, I've some background there. For years, the Rec Trails grant program was funded, I don't remember, like $2 million a year or something like that, or maybe it was like 5 million over 5 years. And then last year they, you know, with whatever legislation, you know, our Connecticut has a state Rec Trails program. Mike can probably explain this better, but you kind of opt in or opt out of the federal program, and the state decided to do their own state program. And so last year there was a $9 million pot. And we were really lucky to get this planning work funded by a Rec Trails grant, as you guys know, and that's what we were referring to in our contracting intro. And so you know, we had a conversation with the state about, you know, sort of a little bit of a kickoff, just the state and TPL to talk about how this model might work. And it's definitely a new model for the state. They're not used to having sort of, you know, a third party and TPL apply for the trail planning on their land. But they're also, I think, very excited about how this model might work in the future as a better way to leverage state resources and take the burden off some of the, you know, state resource constraints. And so anyway, all that to say that, you know, they're funding this plan and they're going to be very involved in the, you know, development of this concept plan, and their input will be, you know, very important to it. And so I think that once we have a deliverable that is signed off on by all of these different divisions, I think we stand a good chance to get funding for the actual construction and development, provided, you know, everything goes well and goes accordingly. And, you know, we've got a long road ahead, but I would think that there's likely to be more funding every year than there has been historically for trails. And so this, you know, we probably won't get the whole thing funded. These things are expensive and they want to spread their resources around, but there's probably ways we can, we can get some significant funding from the state, hopefully. No guarantees, but.
So I had a few questions. My name is Tom McGrath. I'm not a member of the Open Space Committee, but I'm president of the Friends of Mono Pond State Park nonprofit. I don't know if Mike and Liz, you've heard of us yet. So within Connecticut, there's 100+ parks and less than 30 friends groups. So this group, the Open Space Committee, thought it would be nice to create that nonprofit, not knowing that TPL would get as involved as it has right now. We thought that we might have to be the ones trying to come up with a management plan and so forth. And I know at this point, we plan to stand back and not ask for any grants directly for Mono Pond State Park if TPL is going to be doing that, or if TPL advises us to act, you know, we're looking for TPL to be a lead for Friends of Mono Pond. The other thing that if we had put together, this group had put together a list of potential stakeholders a few months ago, and I'm not sure if you had a chance to look at that at all. But Friends of Mono Pond was going to be one of those. And if you look at the property, the state owns a lot of property out in the Wells Woods area, but it abuts Old Town roads. and basically 5 acres of roads dissect that whole area. So the town has to be really involved with, you know, whether they're gonna give up those roads, how that's gonna be integrated with the park. And also, if you've looked at the maps, the new land abuts almost a mile of the airline trail, which is also a linear state park in Connecticut. And there's plans for management, of, you know, creating a new management plan for that, so there's gotta be an integration of both plans, so. There's a lot of moving pieces, just the earlier you talk to the group of us that have been involved for a long time, the better we feel. I guess it's-
Absolutely, and that's the intent of our initial kickoff call and engagement with folks. We want to hear from you and others. We're here to facilitate the planning and design, and we rely on the local experts that know the property, know the players, know all of the interfacing agencies, and that list of stakeholders will be very helpful for us to make sure we're engaging as best we can across the whole project.
One of the things we were looking at was to put some temporary signage out in the new areas so that we could lead hikes and do things out there, knowing that it would be replaced with new permanent trails, new permanent signage. So I think based on what you said today, you're looking out probably 2 years before you're shovel ready or shovel in the ground. So we should probably move forward with that.
I would say, yeah, if you're actively doing some things out there, some temporary signage is helpful. It starts to set the stage for folks how they recreate out of the property and gives you some guidance. And yeah, we could be we could be about 1.5 years, maybe, or a little bit less from shovel ready. Again, that comes then down to funding on how quickly you can get into actual construction and what does the bidding process, the procurement process looks like to get shovels in the ground.
Mike, this is Mark Walter. I'm the town administrator for Columbia. And we have some properties that actually were not purchased by the state yet. The town went ahead. They were small enough that during COVID and all the drama of COVID, we just bought them within the park. So those lands will be in the mix as well. That's part of the park. We intend long-term, I'm hoping the state will just buy them from us and make it officially part of the park. But at the moment, the town and the state are partners in Monopont State Park. We also have talked about putting up some temporary farm gates at the old road access points. Unfortunately, the neighbors all around the park have been using it as their ATV private park. And we're trying to start getting signage up with consequences to ATV use and outlaw. We haven't done that yet, but I didn't know if you had any device. We were just gonna plant some telephone poles and buy some basic aluminum gates with a lock that the town has, and then the state would have access to, but we haven't done that yet, but we're ready to, if that's advisable.
Yeah, I would say so. If obviously, or it sounds like the ATV use is not allowed, so discouraging that use, starting to establish what's appropriate uses in the park with good signage, those gates, make sure when you do get those in place that if you look to see if they can drive around those telephone poles, like, are you putting in boulders alongside that? Like, how are you making sure you're discouraging that? Hopefully people abide by signage, but you just never know. So we've been part of sometimes some difficult transitions from the non-desirable uses in parks, and how do you displace that through communication, some barriers, and some law enforcement too. You got to have some presence of enforcement. So yeah, you're taking the right steps.
Okay.
And Mark, with regard to the property, the Robinson property and the, those other ones that the town acquired, we should, we don't have to work out the kinks just yet, but we should have something that, where the town, sort of authorizes, that their land be part of this larger, whether that's like a letter from the selectmen or something, and then also coordinate with the state so that they know that you know, you guys are on board with that. And so if, you know, there's a proposal to bring the trail from, you know, through town land back onto state land where there's like, you know, that the state just is on board with that because, and that they don't, you know, insist on, oh, well, we want all of our trails on our land and not, you know, not having breaks. And it's just something we should coordinate with the state about, pretty early on before the, you know, the actual planning work starts, you know, gets going, I think. Mike, that makes sense to you?
Absolutely. Having some sort of a acknowledgement or agreement in place that says to us or lets us know that we're looking at these properties comprehensively, holistically, that we're not having these donut holes in the middle of properties that we got to avoid.
Yeah.
So knowing that the state acknowledges that you all acknowledge that too, that'll be key.
And Honor, are you and I going to work up some documentation that I could then have authorized by the board of selectmen?
Yeah, I think first step, let me reach out to well, I haven't really thought this through. I'm thinking out loud here, but maybe we reach out to Tom Tyler and say, you know, here's the plan, what the town's intentions are. You know, the town is ready to pass a resolution that the trail planning happened on their land, and that, you know, when the plan is done, that those trails are, you know, sort of supported and endorsed by the town, and make sure that they're on board before we go and have the select board pass a resolution in that way. I think let me think about that a little bit, and then about the approach there, because, you know, I don't want to say that the state can sometimes, you know, things get tied up there. They're short staffed.
No.
Honor, come on. They have to come to work more than one day a week.
The DEP folks I found are lots of hardworking folks, and it's they've got like one guy in this region, and that's what I've been told, that, you know, his plate is very full. And so I don't think we want to go to Dave, because Dave doesn't have the capacity to like make this decision. But I think just as a, you know, conceptually, and also I think there's a precedent in Connecticut that there are many, many state parks where trails continue on to town open space, to land trust property. And so I don't think that there's any reason, you know, it shouldn't be an easy, you know, kind of, yes, we support that. But we just have to get in front of someone.
I agree.
I had a couple of dates I wanted to share with Honor. The first weekend in June is Connecticut Trails Day.
Yes.
So Friends of Montauk Pond is sponsoring 2 different hikes, Saturday and Sunday, Saturday in the old section, Sunday in the new section. And then the following weekend, we just found out that the East Coast Greenways Alliance is sponsoring a bike ride
Yes.
up to Montauk Pond to do something with Montauk Pond. So if you want Friends of Montauk Pond to participate that weekend also, and share whatever information you'd like me to share with attendees on both weekends, that would be appreciated.
Yes. So TPL is, we did this last year, not through Montauk Pond, but we did a 40-mile ride, and I think we had a 5 or 10-mile family ride, and it was so successful. I think there were over 100 bikers. So we're doing it again with East Coast Greenway, and this time we're going on the airline trail, and they're stopping, and I can send you the draft route. But what we were talking about would, you know, is having someone at that entrance point to Montauk Pond State Park on the airline trail, so that when the bikers stop at various times, you know, there can be like, here's how the project happened, you know, kind of tell the story. And that can be me, that can be someone from Friends of Montauk Pond, I don't know, you know, whoever, and also whoever wants to ride and sort of be you know, can tell the story while cycling, that would be excellent too. So I'll send you all the information, and would love some support and some volunteers to be on the ground when we do that.
Perfect. We have a Friends of Montauk Pond meeting following this meeting. So we can talk about it there, but I think we definitely want to participate.
Yes, awesome. That was on my list to actually email you guys about, because I hadn't been involved in it when I was on maternity leave, but then we just had a meeting last week talking about it, and I said, oh, I've got to reach out to them and let them know that this is happening and that, we want their involvement. And yeah. So I haven't ridden 40 miles in a very long time. Don't know that I could do it, but I might do the shorter one. We'll see. Or I might just stand at Mono Pond State Park and greet the bike.
Well, I can tell you the return trip is slightly downhill to Willimantic. So the ride up, you'll notice it's slightly uphill.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what everyone said. It's flat. You can do it. It's flat. I'm like, I don't know.
Flat-ish.
Yeah.
I have one other question. Way back before you guys got involved, we had reached out to the New England Mountain Biking Association representative to walk the property. Is there any relationship with IMBA and NEMBA?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep, there is. So I already started to prime that pump a little bit. I reached out to our IMBA local director and also our executive director who have interfaced with NEMBA recently just to check on most recent conversations. So we haven't reached out to them yet because I just want to reach out when we really start our stakeholder engagement. So we're a few months away from that, but yes, we'll be reaching out to NEMBA.
oh, I know, I have a question.
Yeah.
I totally forgot.
This is the last one.
Okay, not to dominate the meeting, but so Friends of Mono Pond applied for a grant through the DEP to do a study of the invasive plants and remediation of the invasive plants that are in Mono Pond. We have no idea whether we're gonna get that grant or not, but we applied for that a few months ago. So that, depending on how that goes, that may be useful for you in an area that you might not have to do.
Absolutely. Any resource information on the properties and plans moving forward, that's the stuff that we're gonna want to just at least know of, read a little bit, just understand how maybe operations of invasive removal and stuff may interface with the trails that we're developing and could actually be a way to help with that. So like even when we're looking at access for construction for trails, our construction access routes may turn out to be then maintenance roads or maintenance access. So yeah, it's good to know of things like that.
What's interesting with the property is there is power line corridor that kind of dissects it. And in the wintertime, they've done a lot of construction work using that and the airline trail as their access points
Perfect.
without real roads.
Yep. And that's what we look for that too. So when we're doing our desktop analysis, getting the data in there, understanding what's all going on for existing corridors and utilities, that just helps inform what our planning and implementation looks like.
One other thing, Mike, I'm working with CROG, our Council of Government, and we just did a new flyover of the whole state for DPS, and it's super, super detailed.
Great.
So my planner is going online to see how it looks, and because it exists, but they haven't adopted it yet. But I'll make sure you have access to the latest GIS mapping, which probably would help you a lot.
Oh, absolutely. That's going to be one of the first things that Liz is doing is that, or Forrest on our team, like they'll be out asking questions about mapping data and what's the current, what's the best. And hopefully that new data set is something that then is available for us to get our hands on and use that as our base data.
Okay, and if Liz and Mike, you can email me your contact information. My email is townadministrator@columbiact.org.
Great.
And that's Mark Walter.
Yep.
In addition to that, the chart that you shared screen, the timeline, could you also send that to town administrator. So
Yeah.
that we have something to sort of go by.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.
The other thing, we've talked about getting samples of stuff we've done in the past. The one thing that I saw was basically it looked like someone scratched on a piece of paper, 5-year-old. So I'm sure you've got something more detailed, and I particularly be very interested in how you mix in the different uses. Like, is there some plans, is there like a particular area of the park would be for mountain bikes, another, I mean, how that inter thing works. Something could be an example of that I'd like to see.
Absolutely, we can come up with an example or two for you all. Every project is different, obviously, so the topography really starts to tell us where things make sense, but and access points. But yeah, we can share that all. Well, if that's okay, we'll just send it to you, Mark, and then if you want to disperse.
Yeah.
Yep.
That works great.
Hey, any other questions?
No, thanks for the update.
Absolutely.
Very impressive.
Yeah, thank you.
You guys interact together.
Oh, thanks,
And we're glad
thanks.
to have you on board.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
excited to be here with you all.
Yeah. Well, it'll be really great because we keep getting questions from people, who keep saying, well, something's gonna happen, so now we can tell people something's happening, so it's great.
Absolutely.
And
The wheels are
thank
turning.
you. Thank you so much for attending this morning. We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. We'll see your faces again soon.
Often, I hope.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, Mike, you and I can talk offline, but, like getting something on the calendar, even if it's for August or whatever, like the kickoff with stakeholder, all that kind of stuff. We'll keep you guys apprised, and the wheels are turning behind the scenes. Just know that, we're not, I don't think, there's nothing happening before August, at least on our end. So we'll probably be, Mark and I will work on the stuff with the state and the town land stuff, and we'll just get everything kind of teed up so that we can go, full force in August.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
See you later. Bye.
Like,
All right, bye.
That's exciting.
It sure is.
yeah, I mean, something happening.
Great.
Okay, my comment here is we have to get the other 3 pieces of land that are outstanding. And maybe 4.
The 3 pieces of land, the Midbrook Preserve.
The hard one is the one that we got from the Rams disconnected.
So here's my thought. We have to let's approach Mr. Silverstein, and instead, because we've approached him to purchase these things, and he keeps saying no. You have to wait till I die and deal with my kids. So why don't we try this tactic? Why don't we approach him and ask him if he would like to have his land included in this plan? Because there's no liability for him letting the public on his land if he does not charge a fee. That's state Connecticut. And so if we approach him from that point of view, if we could get him excited about being part of this great plan, part of a big part, then he will either do one of 3 things. He'll either say no or yes, you can use that. Or he'll say, oh, there's gonna be all that around me. Here, I'll sell it to you. Right?
one of the things that might be, what would I approach, when we talked with him, Mark was very aggressive. And one of the things we talked about, because we're really interested in the area where the wetlands are, and he's really interested in the upper part where he theoretically could potentially build a house or something.
Yeah.
So we mentioned to him, well, the town would be, actually, the town was more interested in buying what would be the west side of his property, which would
Yeah.
include the swamp,
The
and a
town-
portion of, some portion of the right side. Unlike the Rand, you want to actually have dry land that we could actually access, but for the most part, he could keep all of the developable land, and we would just be interested in connecting our two parts will be owned here and parts will stay owned there. So there's a corridor, which would include all the beautiful wetland and a path on the east side of the swamp.
Still doesn't give us parking lot.
Should we, well, we have, you know,
Should this discussion be in the executive session or not?
We're just strategizing.
why you want to leave?
When you're talking about land transactions,
Well, that's the site, so we're just. Okay.
I didn't bring it.
We are gonna have.
So we can talk about, we want to buy. There used to be this whole, those who used to be all had, we talk about, wouldn't it be great to own this whole thing.
Okay, I didn't.
We're,
I
I'm
didn't look at
just,
those words.
Remember, Mark, when we talked with him at one point, oh, I had almost had him convinced that he would sell us the swamp part and he would keep the rest. And then also, we would even pay him for the money that's in dispute.
Yeah, we could always, reach out again.
Yeah.
Might be worth it, the effort.
I think it would. Then we can include.
Is that something where we would meet in person?
Yeah, we could try again. We've had one meeting over boundary dispute. That offered just buy it to solve, got boundary dispute.
And you know, another thought I had about him. If he said, sure, I'll sell you that. And you gave it and you paid it, you wrote a check. That puts him in a different tax bracket.
I don't think that's a concern. Who knows?
And
Well, you could also structure the payments over a period of years.
that's what I was striving at.
Yeah.
We did that for Ronnie Zega.
Right, we did, we spaced it out.
It's based on. So
Really
you didn't
fun.
get,
There's a lot of things they can do with trust and things too.
I still wanna go see Lucarelli too. I mean, I just, we were so close to that. I mean, and we talked about it, Mark and I talked about it. Do you wanna go, Chris, or not? Does anybody wanna go? Have a pizza?
I'll go anywhere, anytime.
Especially if food's involved, I'm there.
yeah, this guy.
Yeah, it's an old time restaurant. His mother, I guess, founded it.
Where is it?
One of those Shelton, one of those little towns right around Shelton.
Gold Coast. Connecticut.
I've actually been here. So you guys gonna show up the pizza place and just say, and buy your land? Or you can make a point tonight. Yeah, I think about it. It's in Derby. Roseland, a pizza. Hawthorne Avenue, Derby. Well, I thought, give him a call and say, you know, wanna come down and have a pizza?
I guess you can make some sense now, this is happening, we're making this trail plan, it'd be nice at this point, it's kind of like. Need to get on board because we're doing this thing and once it's planned, it'll be out of it, so we're, you know, that means you can kind of open the door a little bit. It's a conversation.
While we're at it, you should take another stab at Jake's.
Take a stab at all
This is a different area, have you done with this?
Haven't met him.
Mark and I have.
of them. But it's always worth. You just never know.
He's in a different world than these other people talk about.
But it may be beneficial to him if he still wants to do the development, to say, look at all this that's going on. It's gonna abut your property, this would be great.
Well, it's already there. It's already there, so.
No, I know, but I'm just, when you become more aware that it's actually happening rather than just rumors.
Might be more of a reason for him not to sell. Yeah, yeah.
So,
We should tell him we're gonna put a trash compacting unit back there, or something. There's some kind of weird thing, so that would scare him, but.
moving the trash burning from Hartford to.
Yeah.
And he's not gonna give anything away, even permission to put trails on.
But we, you know, it's on, last on the board, I mean, at one point, the property was valued, and I'll make up numbers, these aren't real numbers. Say the property was valued at 800,000, Board of Selectmen offered him 900,000, and he wanted $1.2 million. Right. You know, so it's like, how can you deal with that? You know, it's, as a municipality, you can't go in there and pay extra money, we're not like, we're not a business. So he'll be hard to deal with, he's got a lot of money,
Right.
at least he says he's got a lot of money.
It should be else that they can.
He's got over $1 million into it, what he says. But I think these other ones we talked about more. I think they're more ripe, I think.
Something to it, in Connecticut, the majority of the blue trails, there's over 1,000 miles of blue trails, the majority of them are on private property. So you don't have to own a property to run trails.
That's what it is, it might make sense, maybe, so she might agree to
Right, oh, yeah,
have a trail.
I think- and a private owner can change their mind too, and then you have to relocate the trail, so yeah. You know, one thing I don't know is how does Connecticut Forest and Park Association work with TPL or any of these? I don't know if there's any relationship there, because
No.
Connecticut Forest and Parks want to manage all the blue trails in Connecticut, more or less, so it's kind of always.
Well, fortunately, you have monitoring to figure this out, because he seems to really have a finger on the government.
Oh, yeah, no,
They're a great organization.
Yeah.
yeah, I just hearing this morning, I feel a lot better, because all I just.
It's all
Nothing happening, nothing happening, nothing happening. People ask me, what's trying to modify it? That's what anything, it's on the bears.
I forgot to ask her about Camp Laurel.
Julian, I was thinking about that too, actually.
Call her up right now.
That's.
I'll send you an email. Later. Okay, we're missing just. So I'm moving to whole business. You know anything that about Laney's? No. They look there. Okay, I move, we go into executive session.
At 9:49. I'll stop the recording and we should invite,
Yep, but
into the executive. You came out of executive session at 10:14 with a motion from Ann Dye. No action taken.
no action. Okay, I think we can probably table the rest of this.
Yeah.
Okay, I move for you.
What Mike, the acquisition and in the, just for a minute. Projects. What is the?
Our designer.
No, you didn't give us time.
Yes. The big shot, just, yeah. Just saying, oh.
He's with
Oh.
Trail Solutions.
Trail solution.
Yeah.
Which is the consulting arm of
IMBA.
Yeah.
I think that's all I said.
And I think we all have to get Friends of Monopon really cool hooded action sweatshirts that they have. Those are the thin wool tees. Yep, come on, let's go. Cause they both have that.
Once it's bonded, we can buy the sweater.
All right,
Thank you all.
good seeing you, Paul. Oh, we took football. We're saying bye. Good to see you, Paul. Hi, Paul.
Ball.
All right, I'm Ending recording. Good day.